A little bit later of a video today. Had a 500-mile drive I had to do. But it allowed me to codify some thoughts here. And I don't have a bunch of things to go through specifically at this moment to as video evidence or things like that. But there was an article this morning. DNC official reveal Obama and Pelosi did not want Kamala Harris. We all know that there was tomfoolery afoot. But ever since that week, essentially that week, I've had a feeling that I'm going to, over the next few weeks, I'll end up putting something together with a little more in-depth on this. But Donald Trump wasn't supposed to survive. That was supposed to be the beginning of a coup. I've become convinced of that. That was the beginning of a coup. Because there were already efforts before then. Before Butler. Now this is right after Butler. Because the writing was on the wall. Private efforts to nudge Biden to step aside continue. Here's another one. 12 more Democratic lawmakers call on Biden to step aside. This, as we all know, had already been happening. He'd already been showing signs of his horrible mental status, the deterioration. There's an entire list of lawmakers here from the Democratic side who had already been calling for Biden to step down. This is probably a little more interesting because it goes through the dates of all these people, and I'll make sure that this is linked in there. But what's become clear to me is that Trump was not supposed to survive. What was the coup supposed to be? Well, the coup was to be a warning. First, to eliminate their greatest threat, Donald Trump. To flat out eliminate. Not a warning. That was to flat out eliminate. Secondly, that was to be used as a warning to the current resident that it's time to go, time to get out. As we know, the announcement of his dropping out of the race seemed kind of like a surprise to him. On a Sunday afternoon, word is that people at the White House that Biden had no idea. That he had no idea. We're finding out now that, according to some people, Obama was carefully vetting Senator Mark Kelly from Arizona. We also found out that Pelosi didn't really have a preference, but they both wanted to have a primary. I'm sure that would have been honest as the day is long. But it's becoming clear to me that was part of a coup. That what we experienced the 8 days, the 8 days that potentially could have changed this entire world, that did change this world because of its failure. Well, let's just go with that. 8 days that changed the world because of its failure. Just a couple millimeters and everything's different. Everything's different. I'm convinced of it. You have either a President Haley or a President Davis, a President Kelly. I'm sorry. Forgive me. Because if he was vetted by the Obamas, I have a feeling he would have probably made it through the primary system with no real issues. And had the unthinkable happened to the president, to Donald, the nomination would have went to the next candidate who had delegates. That was Nikki Haley. We were most definitely going to get ourselves a deep state creature of the first order. We to figuratively say we dodged a bullet is putting it mildly. We dodged a nuke, Potentially. I had time to put these thoughts together today as I drove all those miles, because I felt this way for a long time. And I'm going to put some videos together in the future. I want to go through and redo some of my earlier videos that are very, very sketchy. And this, I want this to basically be the introduction to what is going to be a series where I try to expose the coup of 2024. The Deep State Coup of 2024. It partially happened. Part of it happened. It's not Joe Biden who ran for president, is it? It's the camel. Joe, according to this article here, the one released today, and I will of course link it in the comments. DNC official reveals Obama Pelosi did not want Kamala Harris. Well, why was she on there? Because Biden endorsed her. Because Biden came out and endorsed. He's an old political hand. He knew what he was doing. He may be a doddering old fool, but he's not an idiot. He got out in front of it, and he partially ruined it too. I am completely convinced that we lived through an attempted coup d'etat that partially succeeded and partially failed. The part that failed, thank God it failed. We did not want to see the president's brains splattered all over live television. And then what that would have led to, a Republican National Convention that wasn't about the happiness and joy we saw, not about the candidates being pro-America, pro-freedom. It would have been a mourning. It would have been essentially a public funeral that would have coronated Nikki Haley as the very likely Republican nominee. That should send shivers down your spine. Nobody wants war more than Nikki. She loves it. We got extremely lucky. We survived the Deep State Coup of 2024. Now all we have to do is survive until the inauguration of President Trump. That in itself might be one hell of a big leap. Thanks.